welcome to day one of the 7-day Midlife Metabolism Kickstart Challenge. Here's the whole point of the challenge. Number one, my name is Jen Behill. If you don't know, I have been in the fitness and wellness space for 30 years now, working, I would say 29 of that with women. Mainly fat loss, some other things too, but mainly that is the thing that came up. And the reason that I ended up going down this path was because I got into the industry because I was an athlete and I started training athletes. But what I quickly discovered was this just enormous industry and community of women who were being taught things that were making their issues worse. And I'm still super passionate about it. I've had opportunities to do other things, and I just stay here because women are so misled about how their bodies work. And so my whole goal is to educate, inform, inspire women how their bodies work so that they can feel comfortable and confident in their own skin to stop having this very unhealthy relationship with food, with the scale, with all of these things. And just really learn how this all works so that they can achieve a healthy physique, not one of obsession, but a healthy one, and feel good about themselves. So the whole point of the challenge is to give you some basics that whether you ever work with me one-on-one or in a group setting, that you now have some basics that you can then take and start to run with. And that's my goal with this challenge. And today I'm hoping to kind of clear out some of the confusion so you guys know exactly where to put your focus. If you follow me for any length of time, or if you are a client, you know, like I'm all about like, let's just focus on big impact actions. I don't care about all the little nitty gritty stuff. Those are the things that women like to obsess about that just waste energy. So the point of this challenge is to get you to really dial in on the things that matter most. So with that said, I am going to start by walking you through the app. Now I'm going to share my screen. It's my account. I'm not sharing any personal information on from a client. It does look different on a computer than it does on your phone in the app. So I actually logged in as a client just to kind of show you when you log into the fitness app, you're going to log in and I'm going to just show it here and then I'll go to the computer. It's going to take you to your dashboard and it's going to look like this. Okay. This is your dashboard. And on the dashboard, the first thing you're going to see is your things to do today. And I'm going to show you how you can move those things around a little bit. So don't worry about that. But if you have things planned, like you'll have your daily walk, right? You could click on it there. So those things are going to show up there, right? And then the second thing that you should see is right underneath that, it should say My Challenges. And when you click on that, it's going to open up to this little screen. As you start to complete these challenges, as you start clicking them off, you're going to see everybody's down here at the bottom. You're going to see everybody start to move up and you'll be able to see yourself there. If you click on this little button over on this side, that will tell you everything about the challenge. So that gives you all the basics about the challenge, which I'm going to review today, but you also will have that. So this gives you your challenges. And then right underneath that is where it says My Groups. This is where I will be communicating with you. So you want to make sure that you're checking. It says Kickstart Challenge. And if there's a little red dot there, that means that somebody has added something. And it can be as simple as somebody completed one of the tasks, right? So if you click on that, that is where you're going to see everybody's tasks. You're going to see messages from me. I will drop in and do videos. I will attach things for you. But this is where you're going to come to either let us know what a win is, let us know what struggles you're having, ask me a question. Now, I will say, because you can see, like, as people start to complete tasks, that feed is going to start to fill up, right? Especially as we hit tomorrow, right? Everybody today is kind of still getting their feet wet. But as that starts to go, that feed is going to start to fill up. If you have a specific question, make sure you tag me. Just at Jen, it'll pull me up. Let me make sure it should be at Jen Vigil, Vigil. And then that way I will make sure to see it. Hold on, I can tell you because I just did a video. Nope, it doesn't say that it's from me. Yeah, oh, it says at Jennifer Vigil. So I'll put it in the chat so you guys can find me. My last name is spelled kind of funny and people get that wrong. So let me put it in the chat for you guys. So when you tag, it's gonna be. There you go. Guys, that's in the chat. So now you should be able to see that. All right. Anybody have any questions so far on the app? We're good? Good to go. And you guys can type things in the chat as we go. I will keep an eye on it so that I can answer questions as we go along.
I have one quick question.
Yep. Go
And
ahead.
that is that I don't understand how, so I have a dog, right? So I don't walk like a full hour. Sometimes I walk 45 minutes, then I work another 30 minutes like that. And I didn't understand, how do you log? Because I filled in manually the first walk,
Yeah.
but I also put the thing in my watch. So how do you do that?
So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm actually
Okay, cool.
I'm going to share my screen now so that you guys can see, because like I said, you'll see it looks different than in the app, just slightly different. But I'm going to show you guys how to log everything, so that way you know. And it's a good question. Thank you, Francesca. All right. Let me share my screen here. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Hold on, let me pull this back up. Too many things open. Here we go. All right, let's try that again. There we go. All right, guys, so you should be able to see, actually, that's the calendar. I'm going to start off the dashboard. And what you'll notice is on my dashboard, it's missing where it says my groups, my challenges, like it'll go right to progress. And you guys will have all of this too as you start to log workouts. If you were to sync your Fitbit or your Apple Watch or Garmin, if you're tech savvy, it's not part of the challenge, but if you want to play with the app, play with the app. You got it for 7 days, you might as well. It'll show all that stuff up in here. Okay, so it's going to show you your progress. And then as you start to complete tasks, it'll show you your achievements down here at the bottom. So this is your dashboard. Now from your dashboard, you can log things. You can log them from your things to do. You're also in the bottom right-hand corner over here, you're going to see a little plus sign. And I'm going to show you how to log things. So that way you guys know how to log the walk, you know how to log all this other stuff. So you're going to use your dashboard, and then you're going to use your calendar. And here's why this is important. So your calendar, when you guys look at it, it's going to be kind of a scrolling calendar, right? So it'll look, hold on, I'll show you. Come on. There we go. It's going to look like that. So it's just formatted a little bit different, right? Like, so you can kind of scroll through and you can see things. This is just laid out a little bit different, and you can log in on a computer if you like to do that. All right, so we're going to go through and I'm going to explain what all the tasks are, but here are how you log everything. Let's start with the walk. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. If you happen to have your Fitbit or your Apple Watch or your Garmin synced to the app, if you click on the little walking prompt and you put enter stats, you're going to hear a little voice that says starting in 3, 2, 1, and she will record it if they're synced. If they're not synced, that's fine. All you have to do is come in here, put in the total amount of time. So one of the things that Francesca brought up is that she's like, I do, 45 minutes here, I do 30 minutes here, I do 20 minutes here. It is a cumulative. It is a cumulative time that you are walking. It does not have to be one straight hour. My preference is that it be leisure walking, not a cardio walk. And we're going to talk about why there. So let's just say that I did an hour here, right? So I put in 1, I click save, and then you're going to see that it gives you a little check mark. And then when you come back out here, that's checked off. Boom, you're in. And we're going to talk about the points and how that works. Okay, so that's how you're going to log it. If it's synced, it'll pull it up. If it's not, you're just going to check it off and put the amount that you did in there. Okay, as far as your workouts, you need 3 workouts done in the entire week. And if you look down here, I've listed 2 different styles. One is for beginners and one is for more intermediate. So you can either do these at home or you can do them in a gym. So let's say that I'm a beginner. I'm going to click on this beginner, and all the beginner workouts are very, very similar. They all are total body. They all are 4 movements, and you're just going to cycle through them. They can be done with dumbbells and some resistance bands. So every time you click on the little button, you can go through, you can see what the instructions are. So on this one, you would just warm up 3 to 5 minutes. I do prefer that you do either some kind of dynamic warm up, or that you complete 8 to 10 reps of each of the movements at a lighter weight, just to prep the body. And then you can see down here now on the beginner workouts, it's done as a circuit, but I do still want you resting 45 to 60 seconds between each exercise. We'll talk about why as we go through the challenge. And then read through. If you don't know how to do an exercise, you can click on the little button. It'll show you a workout. And then when you're ready to do the workout, you click Enter Stats, and there you go. Now on this one, it's 20 minutes, right, in length. So you just set your timer, and the goal is to go through as many times as you can in the 20 minutes while still resting 45 seconds to 60 seconds in between. You can come in, and if you want, I would record the weight and reps you did. And then this is just one circuit. So then if you completed 3 rounds, you would just go add a round and then keep going. After you're done with entering everything, you hit save. It'll give you the little check mark, and then that one's done. Beginner is done. The balance, the one that says balance, is your more intermediate. Same thing. It's going to show you the warm up. It's going to explain how to do everything. You're going to hit start it, enter everything. Once you're done, it'll check it off there. Okay. Hold on. Is balance intermediate? Yep. Balance is intermediate. Okay. So those are your workouts. Now let's say that you're doing the intermediate, but you can't do it on a Monday. You need to do it on a Tuesday. You can put your little finger on this, if you're using the app, put your finger on the workout and drag it to a different day. So you do not have to do them on the days that they are prescribed. Now, here's how you're going to log your nutrition. And I won't be able to show you everything, but I'll give you an idea. It is not about macros. It is not about calories. It's not about any of those things. I did send you, or it's in the files, and there was an email sent out. I can't attach it in the app because it's such a big file. So go back and check your email. It is listed in there. It is the high protein recipe pack. It is not a requirement. It's just a way to support you. And as we go through the challenge, I'll explain why that's important. But that would just give you ideas on meals and snacks that you could kind of put in and have good, healthy things that would help you along the way. Now, as you go to log your nutrition, you're going to hit that little plus button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your app screen. You click that, and then it's going to bring up a screen that looks kind of like this. Now, it doesn't show it on mine. Wait, on this, let me show you. So if I click that little plus button that you guys see there, right? Can you guys see that little orange button that says meal? You're going to click that. And then it's going to bring up camera. So if you were going to take a picture of your food instead of logging it, you could. You could just snap a picture. If you would prefer to log it, you would just skip the photo, and then you could just find it in and log. Does that make sense? So it's not about macros, it's about consistency. And we're going to go into why that's important as we get rid of that.
Excuse me, Jen. How did you skip the picture and went straight to the log?
Okay.
The logging of the food?
Can you see this okay? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once I hit meal, and then it brings up the camera, right? Right at the bottom right, there's a little thing that says skip photo.
No, not on mine.
Mm.
Mine says create meal, recents, favorites.
It doesn't give you the photo option?
No, well, it has the camera up so I can click immediately to take a photo.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't say it doesn't say
skip.
It doesn't say skip. No.
Will you do me a favor? Will you screenshot that and put it
Sure.
in the group in the my groups. If it's happening
Sure.
for you, it's happening for others. So I need to figure out why it's
Okay.
doing that.
Okay, cool,
It should
cool.
have that. You should be able to log it. This is one of the things that we've learned over the last few days, that the things that we thought worked a certain way, all of a sudden, when you have a very large group, all of a sudden don't work quite that way. So yeah, screenshot it for me and then I'll take a look at it. So that's how you're going to add nutrition. You just hit that little plus button, you go in, you log it. Now, when you do that, it is going to show up as a meal logged. But for the challenge, I need you to tell me that you did it. So then all you're going to go do, let me get rid of that, is you see this where it says nutrition goal hit. That's in there every single day. All you have to do is click on it, hit enter stats, ignore the video, hit save, and then you're going to get the check mark. That is for, now, if you don't care about winning prizes, then don't worry about it. Just log your food. But if you are trying to accumulate points, this is how you're going to get your points. And I'm going to walk you through how that works too. So we got the walking, we know how to do that. We have the workouts, we have the nutrition. I'm gonna stop sharing for just a second. I'm gonna check chat. Is there any questions on that? Did I confuse the crap out of you? Are we good? Good, yes, cool. Okay, so that's how you use the app. You've got dashboard, which takes you to my groups, takes you to my challenge, and then you've got the calendar. FYI, the calendar for you guys is the second icon on the bottom of your screen from your dashboard. So you'll find that there. Above and beyond that, again, if you're tech savvy, have a great time. Play with the app. It does so much. I don't even use all the things that it does. So have fun with the app. You guys get comfortable with it. Okay, so that is the app. What I want to do now is actually walk you guys through how the challenge works and why we're doing what we're doing. All right. Hopefully you guys should see that. Okay. All right. So Midlife Metabolism Kickstart Start Challenge. Here is the challenge in a nutshell. There are 3 actions that we're focusing on: daily leisure walks, 3 strength-based workouts, and logging, however you want to do it, 3 meals and 1 snack daily. Each one of these is worth 5 points. So if you were to tally this up, 7 walks, 7 days of eating and logging 3 meals and 1 snack, and your 3 strength-based workouts, it would be a total of 85 points possible. Now, I am big on teaching my clients to be solid B+ students, meaning I know that most of you are probably type A, very ambitious women. It's why you're here. And so you're going to want to hit all 85. And if you start to like not hit the things every day, your brain is going to go, I'm not going to be able to hit it. I'm not going to hit the 85. And then you want to stop. That's the on off, right? All or nothing thinking. We want to move to a solid B performance because that is how you're going to be able to create consistency. So in order to be eligible for the prizes, you only need 72 points. That's 85%. You just got to be a solid B student and you're in the game. That's how it works. And you'll be able to see that when you go into my challenges. You'll be able to see like how many points you've accumulated so far. If you have questions along the way, make sure you go into my groups and tag me. So here are the prizes. Grand prize, there will be 1 winner who wins. It's basically a VIP Jumpstart package. It is 3 one-on-one sessions with me. We can do numerous things. A lot of times people will be like, will you review my lab work? I don't even understand what I'm being told. And everybody's just like, it looks great. I know there's something wrong. Will you review it with me? Yes, I will review lab work with you. I can make recommendations off of lab work. I cannot prescribe medication, but I can give you suggestions in terms of lifestyle, supplements, things that are going to support you. So that can be a session. We can customize your nutrition. We can customize your exercise, your movement, your stress management. Basically going to have you tell me like what's going on, where are you at, where you want to go. And then we put together a VIP package to help you get there. We troubleshoot any challenges that you might have. So that is for the grand prize winner. Second place, there's going to be 1 winner who wins a Fitbit Versa. 4, smartwatch. It monitors resting heart rate, which we will get into down the road, sleep, steps, calories, stress, and so much more. So if you don't have a tracker or you need a new one, one winner is going to win that. And then there are going to be 5 winners who win my macros to moderation mini course. This is the system. I did this actually over the holidays, and it ended up being 3 calls that we did, coaching calls, where it's systematically taking you from a place where you're counting all the macros and knowing all of your numbers and getting kind of obsessed about it, to being then able to go into a place of moderation and not feel like you're just kind of like, okay, now how do I do it? And you swing wildly into overeating because you don't have any structure to help you along the way. So it is the system that I use with my clients to help them be able to toggle back and forth between those two things. So that is the challenge in itself. No questions on that? We're good? Cool. All right. So why are we focused on walking, strength training, and meal frequency? So walking, let's start with walking. Now, this is not cardio. This is not walking at a quick clip. This is leisure walking. Leisure walking, I always use the scenario of, imagine that you are at the beach and you are strolling the boardwalk, coffee in hand, just kind of looking around, and you're in your flip-flops. You're not walking at a quick clip. We're not trying to burn calories. We're trying to do some specific things from a hormonal standpoint. Number 1, walking falls into the bucket of NEAT, not exercise. And again, we're going to go deeper into this this coming week when we talk about exercise and what matters most. But NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It is the highest amount of calories you can burn outside of what your body just burns on its own, right, at rest. It is the thing you can manipulate the most without getting any kind of hormonal kickback. When you exercise, your body will start to release hunger hormones, and it will release hormones that make you tired and things like that. NEAT will not do that. Your metabolism does not feel threatened by it. So you could do a lot of walking. And I can tell you with clients who I have put in a deficit, the ones who hit that deficit and walk get to their goal. Exercise, we layer in. But when they're in the deficit, we focus on hitting the numbers and walking, and they will hit their goal. So we want to focus on the walking. So that's why the hour. Number 2, leisure walking, not cardio. Leisure walking, particularly out in nature, will help lower stress hormones. In midlife, we are just way more stress sensitive. We are less stress resilient. It's why things don't just roll off your back the way that they used to. It's why you feel things a little bit more than you used to. It's why you have digestive issues, all these things. So we want to lower your stress hormones, and walking is an amazing way to do that. And then lastly, it's going to increase insulin sensitivity. And what that means is that your cells, right? So when it comes to insulin, it's a hormone, it's a messenger. So when you eat food, insulin gets released to tell those cells to open up and take that glucose in and use it. Well, through lifestyle, nutrition, and lifestyle habits, and with age, those cells can become resistant to that message, meaning that insulin comes a knocking and those cells are like, can't hear you. They're deaf hearing that message. And so that insulin then is like, where am I supposed to go? It basically circulates and gets stored as fat around your midsection. So those are the insulin resistance is like that first layer that could lead to, and usually leads to, things like diabetes, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's, right? Alzheimer's is basically, if you guys don't know, called the type 3 diabetes. It's insulin of the brain. So we want to make sure that the cells are opening up and using that insulin, and walking is a really great way to do that. Hold on, I see a question. We jump back over. Perfect. I'm glad that makes sense. Okay, so that's the walking portion. Again, you can break it up, but it's not cardio. It's actual walking. Okay, strength training. Why strength training? Well, number 1, if you're here, you're here for a fat loss goal, right? Because you want to increase the metabolism. Most people don't realize that your body is either going to build or burn. It doesn't like to do both. both. Your metabolism doesn't want to burn and build at the same time. And it will only do so in very, very small percentage of the population or situations. So it's going to choose. And if it's in a burn mode, right, where it's eating things up, it's not going to really distinguish between fat and muscle. It's going to eat up your muscle, right? So when we strength train at this point, even if you don't want to add more muscle, which as we age, it does get more challenging to do so, you can, but it needs to be a focus. At the very least, your strength training is going to help preserve that muscle as you're losing weight. And why do we care about preserving muscle? Well, because the more muscle you have, the higher your natural metabolism. There's something called BMR, it's your basal metabolic rate. We'll go into this week, where the higher amount of lean muscle tissue you have, it is more metabolically active, meaning it's going to keep your metabolism at a higher pace than if you do not have muscle. And it's one of the reasons why people, when they diet, one, not the only, but it's one of the reasons why when people just focus on dieting, they end up gaining the weight back, because in most cases, they're losing a substantial amount of muscle. And so then their natural metabolism goes down. So we want to keep that metabolism super high. The other reason is that muscle loves insulin. Anybody I have that comes in with insulin resistance, instantly I'm like, we got to get you lifting weights, because what will happen is that muscle will then tell the cell, hey, I need that. I need that insulin. So it's like a big insulin sponge, and it's going to pull all that insulin in and use it to build muscle. What most people don't realize is that, yes, your body needs protein to build muscle, but it also requires insulin. You cannot build muscle without it. So those cells are going to pull that insulin in and use it. And then it just comes down to mobility as you age. At the end of the day, guys, if you start to lose muscle, you're going to become less and less active. And as you become less and less active, less and less mobile, at some point, you're not mobile, right? So it's going to keep you moving as you age. And then when it comes to meal frequency, now I know that this is super confusing for a lot of people, because you're being told things like intermittent fast and all of these things. Here's the deal. Unless you are in a place of what we call metabolic flexibility, meaning that you can throw things at your metabolism and it just goes and adapts. It's like, oh, okay, well, let me adapt to this. Let me adapt to that. Those are for people who are already in that place. For the vast majority of women in midlife, they're not in metabolic flexibility. They are in some form of metabolic dysfunction. And when you do that, you throw all of these little bit more extreme strategies at it, it creates more stress. And when your metabolic system is under stress, it is not going to burn fat. We want your metabolism to be like, you and your metabolism be like this. We want a good relationship. And it needs like some very consistent things to happen in order to trust you and to start to burn. So when you're eating frequently, your metabolism goes, okay, she's no longer starving me. She's no longer asking me to do all of these things on just a cup of coffee and a piece of toast. She is fueling me and giving me the energy I need to be able to function on a higher level, right? So it creates less stress on your metabolic system. It improves that metabolic health, because through adaptation, right? It then goes, oh, she's feeding me. She's feeding me. Let me burn, right? There's a reason why bodybuilders eat 6 to 7 times a day. I'm not telling you need to be a bodybuilder, but I'm telling you that there's a reason why that works, right? Now, once you create metabolic flexibility, if you want to fast, cool. That's a strategy that might work. But until you get to that place where you can throw things at your metabolism and it doesn't get stressed and just locked down, we want to be able to make sure that we're eating frequently throughout the day. I'm glad it's making sense. The other benefit is that it's going to help balance your blood sugar, right? So what you eat and how frequently you eat is going to determine that blood sugar, which also determines insulin, which also affects cortisol. We want your, and I had a conversation with a lady this last week, and she's like, I've heard that there's no true like hormonal balance. And that is true in that there's no like one marker that you can hit and then stay there. Your hormones are always kind of fluctuating, right? But we don't want your blood sugar doing this, right? That's bad. It's going to affect your cravings, your energy, your mood. It's also going to affect cortisol, because If you spike your blood sugar too fast and too high, it will always drop. And when it drops, cortisol comes in to push it back up. And then insulin gets released to push cortisol back down. And then cortisol gets released to push this back up. This is what makes you exhausted and not be able to think. And it makes you cranky and it makes you crave sweets and it wakes you up in the middle of the night. So we want balanced blood sugar, right? We don't want big spikes and big drops. Also, with the whole fasting thing, if your blood sugar drops too low, and this happens quite a lot, people are like, I just keep waking up in the middle of the night. I'm like, okay, because your blood sugar is dipping too low. So cortisol comes up to push it back up. Well, when cortisol rises, you're awake, right? So we want even balanced blood sugar. And smaller meals are easier on the digestive system. If you're doing smaller meals, and I see this 90% of the time when a woman comes to me for help, we're doing smaller meals. So it's like coffee and a piece of toast for breakfast, if anything, right? And then lunch is like 200-300 calories, just nibbling, right? And then she's like, but then in the afternoon, like that's where I start being bad because I'm craving stuff. And then I start nibbling on chips or I nibble on a cookie. And then by the time she gets to dinner, it's like she's logging 1,200 calories, but she's probably eating 1,500-1,600, right? Well, both of those things are stress to the metabolic system. Undereating is stress and overeating is stress. So we want to create less stress on the system by making everything super frequent, right? So the metabolic system's like, okay, I know what she's doing. Everything's cool. Create less stress. Because keep in mind, as you age, you're already going to be at a higher metabolic stress level. You're more stress sensitive. So we want to lower that stress and make it easier on your digestive system. Does that make sense? Okay. So those are why we're doing what we're doing. Let's talk really quickly about Metabolism 101 and compensation and what this means. The first law of the metabolism is something called compensation. Now, I'm about to very quickly explain why the diets you tried haven't worked, especially in midlife. Let me make sure. What if cooking and making food is a real challenge to frequency? I think it's a great question. I actually don't do a ton of cooking. As we go through the challenge, I'll start sharing things that I use. One of them, and I don't think you'll have access to it, but you could find places that do this for you. I use a company called Just Meats, and it's literally prepared, pre-cooked meats that are sent to me frozen. They are responsibly raised. And so I use those. I am all about finding things at the grocery store. They're like pre-cooked that I can just heat things up. And what you can do is if you go to, since you're on my Instagram, if you go to the highlight, there's one called No Cook November, 2.5, almost 3 years ago. I guess it'd be 2.5 years ago, maybe. I did an entire November where I didn't cook anything. I just heated stuff up just to give you guys ideas on how to keep this simple. So I would go check that out. That'll give you some good ideas. Okay, so 2 jobs of the metabolism. One is survival, and the second is reproduction, meaning it doesn't care that your pants don't fit. It doesn't care that you want to drop 15 pounds. It doesn't care that you're tired. It only cares about keeping you alive and being able to reproduce. And it will adapt all of its systems by any means necessary to make those 2 things happen. And if it has to, it will ditch reproduction. And this is why you see so many women right now in their 20s and 30s having what they don't realize are reproductive issues because their metabolism has shut that system down. Your metabolism is an energy barometer, right? So what it wants is to create homeostasis. It's going, okay, these are the calories that I have in, the energy that's coming in. Here's the calories that I need to function. Well, think about it this way. Your liver needs energy to function. Your heart, your cardiovascular system needs energy to function. Your nervous system needs energy to function. Your sex hormones need energy to function. Your digestive system needs energy to function. Your thyroid needs energy. See, you guys where I'm going with this, right? So what your metabolism will do is it'll say, I'm not getting enough energy in to manage all of these systems. So let's shut down, let's start to scale back on that thyroid. let's scale back on the digestion. We can't digest everything, right? So you end up having all this stuff stay in your body because we think, oh, we're just going to cut calories. The metabolism will go, okay, well, I have less energy to function on. And that's how that happens. So what it's doing is it wants that homeostasis, calories in, calories out. It wants it to be the same. And when that isn't the same, it will start to release hormones and create what we call metabolic pushback. It will increase hunger and cravings. And you've experienced this if you've ever gone on a diet and started to exercise at the same time. If you went from like being more of a couch potato and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go on this diet, I'm gonna start exercising. And what you probably noticed is that within 3 to 4 days, hunger and cravings start to go through the roof. It starts with like a little tap. Hey, I'm kind of hungry, lady. And then it turns into a roar. Like, hey, I am freaking hungry, right? And it gets harder and harder and harder to not eat those things. Then it will release hormones to make you tired, right? It can literally release hormones to make you less motivated because it's trying to get you to slow down so it can close that gap. It does not like gaps. Now, it will let you do a small gap for a longer period of time. It doesn't feel threatened by that. But a bigger gap, it's going to shut that shit down really quick because it seems dangerous, right? So we don't want huge gaps between calories in and calories out. And just know that because of its primary objective is to keep you alive by any means necessary, it adapts to everything you do. Meaning that if you used to eat 2,000 calories and then you dieted down to like 1,500, right? The metabolism goes, oh, she gave me less energy. So I no longer have the same energy to function and make all these systems work. It will down regulate and you will burn less. You will down regulate and burn less while you exercise. So let's say you used to burn 400 calories on a run. Now you burn 350 for the same exact thing. Now you burn 300, same exact workout. You go to CrossFit, you're burning 400 calories. Now you're burning 300, right? It's just going to keep burning less and less calories when you're working out and even when you're not working out. That's that down regulation. And over time, think about this. Now you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, because you did all of this in your 20s and your 30s, right? And it probably worked a little bit, at least short term, right? Your metabolism has over time down regulated. And it's why women now come to me going, Jen, I'm eating 1,200 calories a day. I'm exercising 5 to 6 days a week, and my waistline is growing. How does that math make sense? That's how. Because even though your tracker is telling you that you're burning 2,400 calories, you're not. You're burning whatever the amount of food is that you're taking in. And you're probably swinging from under eating to overeating because you don't understand that your metabolism will always compensate. So my goal is this week to help you start to put these things into place. That's why the frequent eating, that's why the walking, that's why the strength training is to start to put these things in place to where the metabolism feels safe and supported so it will start to burn more. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, Q&A. Let's open it up. So can you truly restart? Yep, you truly can. Depending, and it's a good question because I think a lot of times women, I'm going to stop sharing for a guy so I can just talk to you guys. I think that women feel like they're so far down the hole that it's irreversible. It's not. And it's why, you know, when women are just like, oh, my metabolism hates me. And I'm like, you just don't understand how much it loves you. Like it's keeping you alive while you're not helping it, right? You don't know that. It's not your fault. You've never been taught. But basically, you're asking it to perform at a high level and you're giving it no support. And yet, here you are. It's keeping you alive. It is highly adaptable. So it depends on how far down the rabbit hole you are. But I mean, I've got clients that like in the beginning, it's like so there's 3 steps. It's always balance hormones out first. And by balance hormones, I'm not talking about your estrogen and progesterone. Those are certainly part of it. But the 4 I care about are your leptin, ghrelin, insulin, and cortisol out of the gate. And those don't take long to balance. So when you balance those out, all of a sudden you feel better. I feel like I can think. I have energy. I have motivation again. I'm sleeping through the night again. I'm actually digesting my food, right? Like all of those things. So we balance those out. Then we go, okay, where are you at? How much are you actually burning? And in most cases, I call it training the puppy. We hook the leash up and we go, okay, metabolism, let's go. And we drag it back up. Now, some people know that that's called a reverse diet. That's one way to do it, right? You can reverse diet. You don't want to, and I get horror stories from women who are like, ah, I signed up with this lady. She used to be a competitor and she reverse dieted me and I gained like 15 pounds and now I can't get it off. Right, because you're in midlife, that's stress. We don't want to do it quickly. We want to do it as your metabolism adapts. Usually it goes real slow and then all of a sudden it'll make a jump. So usually I'll see like just little. And then like just this last week, I had two ladies that jumped 500 calories per day in a 1 week period of time without gaining any weight. So it's just a matter of supporting the metabolism until it kicks in. And when it kicks in, all of a sudden you're like, holy crap. Now, let's say we drag that metabolism back up and you're burning sufficient calories. Now it's like, hey, I'm actually burning 2,400 calories. I'm actually burning 2,500 calories. Now we can create a deficit and you'll lose weight. But you got to balance first. You got to boost your metabolism back up, and then we can create a deficit that is not so stressful that your metabolism pushes back. Hold on, I missed. How do we calculate the calories needed to function? I'm going to share that this week. So I'll go into that. But if you want to, you can go to BMR calculator on the internet. You can plug in, it'll ask you for like your age, height, weight, gender, and it'll give you an idea of what your basal metabolic rate is. It's just a formula that's used. It doesn't mean that it's perfect, but it'll give you an idea of what your body should need if you were to lay in bed and do nothing all day. And for most women, it's shocking because it'll be like 1,300, 1,400, 1,500, 1,800. And they're like, I've been eating less than that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I know.
Jen,
Yes.
okay, I have to get her. Oh, sorry. I've been reading a lot this last year, and I'm going to turn 60 this year. So I decided that I wanted to write a book to encourage myself, and lots of things. And I've been reading and listening to some great podcasts and everything. And I think that the thing that resonates with me on such a deep level is what you said about, and it almost makes me emotional because I do believe that my body wants the best for me. But it is when your system feels safe. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, amongst the ladies listening now. When I look back at my 20s and my 30s, when I look back that I had a very easy transition, a menopause transition. I had a few flashes and I was like, whoa, this is interesting. And it was really easy. But I think, and then I went into I became head of an organization, a company late in life. And then I went from, I mean, the stress was, you can't even imagine. It was enormous. And I stepped down 2 years ago and I'm realizing I feel like my body's catching up to me and it's all over the place. I've had thyroid problems earlier, like in my 40s. I had a little kidney problem. I'm really basically healthy. And my body's like, I feel all the time. That's why I resonate so strongly with what you're saying, that my body's saying like, come on, come on. I'm trying to help you. Come on, come on.
Yeah.
And I cannot for my life understand what I'm supposed to do. And the advice out there is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
And
It's
it's
very
everywhere.
disheartening.
It's everywhere.
Yes,
It's what you're going to get if you go to a doctor. It's what you're going to go get when you go to even functional doctors sometimes. It's
yes,
it's what all the experts are going to tell you. You have to cut calories. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. Listen, I've been doing this for 30 years. Women are 100% on board with suffering. Women will suffer. We love
that's so,
suffering.
that's so terrible.
It's true though. It's true, right? And so I'm like, you have to understand the lengths that a woman will go to achieve. And most of them are like, we're not talking six packs. We're just talking like, I just want to fit in my jeans again, right? The lengths that women will go. And yes, it's emotional. It's why I still do what I do, because it's still the same narrative. But if you take nothing else from this, what I hope you take is that you and your metabolism have a relationship, and you need to repair that relationship. Because you think it hates you, it unconditionally loves you. You need to show it that same love back, instead of being like, why aren't you doing this for me? Right, think about it. It's like, I'm going to give you coffee in the morning and wine at night and very little food, and I want you to burn fat. And that's not to create guilt. You don't know any better. But once you see it and you're like, oh, got it. Yep. Thank you for sharing, because you're right. A lot of women, it'll click. It clicks for everybody at a different time, because your brain, and keep in mind that your brain is always going to go back to, but calories, yeah, calories do matter, right? That's why you'll see like, but you have to have calories, and then you'll see the other camp, hormones, and it's like both. You need both, and humans don't like and, but you need them both. So thank you for sharing. I hope everybody gets that. Okay, so Pamela, I feel pretty confident my metabolism is downregulated as you explained. I regularly exercise and walk. How do I decide how much more to eat and help my metabolism adapt to a better spot? So here's what I always recommend. Number one, invest the time and energy it takes to learn how to track your food. I don't track my food all the time. I rarely track my food. I only touch it every now and then. Wear a mask, right? Or if I put myself in a deficit, but I'm rarely in a deficit, rarely. Because I focus on building muscle, right? And supporting my metabolism. So a deficit, I don't remember the last time I was in one intentionally, right? So you just want to, in the beginning, go, what am I actually doing? No shame, no guilt. I'm logging everything. Every bite, every morsel, and just be a detective and be like, I'm going to look at this. If I was just a scientist, I'm not going to shame myself for the fact that I sat in my car and ate a sleeve of Oreo cookies. Because for me as a coach, I can tell you, I want to see that, because I'm going to look at it and go, why'd she do that? And I'll always figure out why. It's always because there's deprivation before it. That's why that happens, right? So if you can then look at it and go, here's what I'm doing, that'll tell you how many calories your body can process. And then you look at your weight. Weight will fluctuate. We'll go through this too, because every woman I know thinks that the 1 or 2 pounds that move on the scale is them gaining or losing weight. It's not. It's inflammation, water, and digestion. That's all it is. Everybody has a 3 to 5 pound fluctuation, right? And then everybody's like, I gained 2 pounds. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You just probably need to poop. You're fine. Or you can even have a really good workout and that created inflammation, and you think you did something wrong. Doesn't mean anything, right? So start there, Pamela, and go, this is how many calories I'm eating, and this is how many calories I can eat without gaining weight. Then take a look at your BMR. Let's say that right now you're logging 1,600 calories, but you look at your BMR and it says 2,200. Then all you're going to do is go, okay, I'm going to eat 1,700 calories. And I'm going to let my body adapt to that. My body adapts to that. Okay, now I'm going to eat 1,800 calories. I'm going to let my body adapt to that, because it will. 100 calories a day is nothing. It'll start to adapt. As long as you don't have a big jump, you can literally drag it back up. And then eventually you'll get to that 2,200 calories. And you're like, now you can do a deficit. When you do a deficit, you don't do 800 calories, you do 400. You do a 400 calorie deficit so the metabolism doesn't get pissed off at you again and think, oh, here we go again, right? Does that help, Pamela? Does that answer your question? These are good questions, guys. Anybody else have any questions before I let you guys go? You're very welcome. Questions about the app, questions about the challenge, questions about the metabolism. We're good?
I have one question but I'd like to ask that to you privately. Is that okay?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so can I write to you in the app?
So there's a way that you can send me a message in the app. Have you figured out how to do that?
I think so. I think so. It's because there's two people that write, isn't there? Some I can't find.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can find it in the app. Can I?
Oh, you know what? I don't know if you can. Here's what I'm gonna do. If you guys have, we'll just do it this way. I just put my email in there for you.
Okay, great.
And
Thanks.
that way you can just email it to me. I know my assistant also helps set you guys up. And so I don't know if you guys
Yes.
send
Yeah.
a message to
Yeah.
me. That was again one of the things we discovered. So if you guys have like personal questions that you want to ask me, just shoot me an email. I have a fit track scale. Do you think it accurately reflects my fit track scale? Is that like a scale that you stand on, Pamela? Like that is like body fat and all that? I'm guessing that that's what it is. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, let me show you guys. What I would do is check. I'm going to pull something up really quick so you guys can see. And if you guys got to go, I know it's running a little bit long. That's fine. But I want to make sure that I'm answering these questions for you. Okay, so let me share this. Share screen. All right, can you guys see this okay? Sometimes it doesn't grab the right thing. I think it did. So I just typed in BMR calculator, right? And so when you're looking at this, all you would do is type in your age, gender, height, weight, right? And then you'd hit calculate. And then you'll see over here. So like, hold on. I'll just plug mine in so you guys can see it. Okay, so I'm 52, female, 6'2", 175 pounds. My BMR, if I were to lay in bed all day, is about 1550 calories, right? So that's what my body needs just to function at a decent level, right? If I was sedentary, basically I get up, I go to work, I come home, but I'm not really doing anything, my body would need about 1800 calories. Then if I'm exercising, it's going to calculate 2100. If I, you know what I mean? So like it'll go in levels. So what I would do to answer your question is to see like, what is your true resting BMR? Does that make sense, Alicia? I missed another question. So you want to know what your true resting BMR is, not the one that's adding exercise in it. So when you're looking at your scale, make sure it's not adding that in. If your thyroid is messed up, yes. Everything is refixable, guys. Everything is fixable. But here's the thing is one of the reasons that your thyroid can get messed up, and it does happen quite a bit in, I'd say like 1 in 4, I think is the statistic for women in midlife, is because number one, there's a stress, like hormones don't work in a vacuum. They don't work independently. They work with each other. And it's kind of like how your behavior is different depending upon who's in the room, right? Like what people you're around, you're slightly different. Hormones are like that too. So depending upon who's in the room, whatever hormones are around, they'll have a different message or an action, if that makes sense, right? So if I'm in a stress sensitive place, that's going to put strain on my thyroid. So we don't want to just go, well, let's fix the thyroid. What we want to do is go, systemically, what's happening? Because you will not be able to truly correct your thyroid if your insulin and cortisol is still all kinds of wacky. But to answer your question, yes, you can. It's totally fixable. And a lot of times, not always, when you balance all that other stuff out, thyroid starts working because there's less stress on it. Did I miss anything? Calculate calories. Net. The track scale. Done. Any other questions before I let you guys go? I appreciate you guys jumping on a Sunday. I know that that's probably less than convenient, but I want to make sure you guys had what you needed to start. Okay, other questions? If you have a private question that you don't want to send to you're very welcome. Send it in the group. If you have a private question, use my email, shoot me an email, and then we'll go from there. And what I may do is based on the email, I may just respond to you through the app if I can figure out how to do that. But I'll get them answered for you. All right, guys, that's it for today. Let me know if you guys have questions in the group. Otherwise, I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good day.